Is it Saturday already? All right, let's get the Vigorous Q&A started. Starting with some updates. Last week I released the Aromatase inhibitor deep dive and nobody watched it. It was 9 out of 10, which is not good. So please do me a solid and watch the Aromatase inhibitors deep dive. You guys asked for it. Now I expect you to watch it. So please give it a watch, give a like, leave some comments, get it into the algorithm. I spent a couple of days, maybe almost a week, on researching if aromatase inhibitors are deleterious for men when they're not crushing their serum estradiol levels, and I could not find any conclusive evidence, right? We can speculate about neurodegradation and cognitive decline and all sorts of cardiovascular events, but there's nothing documented in scientific literature that with sufficient estradiol levels that any of that is taking place. It's all explained in the aromatase inhibitor deep dive. Please give it a watch. Tim Pietkowski is still looking for people to fill out the drug coaching survey of 2024. Last time, about 15 people filled out the survey last week. So if we can get another 15 or maybe 20 people to sign or fill that out. Again, if you're a bodybuilding coach and you're giving drug advice, this is the people that we need information from. It's all anonymous. You don't have to fill out your name. But it is good to get some additional data so the sample size can be bigger and bigger and bigger. And this study can take form slowly over time. Okay, some updates. I had a podcast with Chase Aarons, which will drop on Monday. I had a podcast with Paul Burnett, which will drop next week, Monday. So Chase Aarons will be Monday the 30th. Oh, no, that's Monday the 24th of June. And then Paul Burnett will be July the 1st. And then, let's see, I think the week after that, I'll drop the Anabolic Roundtable, which I'll record on Wednesday, because that will take some time to do the overlays and all the studies that we're going to discuss. The HCG deep dive is about half recorded. It was longer than expected. It's a lot of scientific literature that I needed to go through. So that's about halfway done. I'll record the other half on Monday, and then my editor will start working on it. And then once that's done, I'll finish up the Nandrolone deep dive and start recording that, which will take several days probably, because there might be an hour in duration, right? If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it good, right? No more short videos like, oh, HCG is beneficial for testicular function. No, when I review the studies, it's all of the beneficial studies. So you only have to watch one video if you're interested about a particular performance-enhancing drug. All right. I think that's pretty much the updates for now. I lost my voice a little bit because I trained today, and training makes me grunt. I actually trained like 2 hours ago, so I might start cramping at one point because I did a lot of stiff-legged deadlifts and hamstring curls. So if I start cramping like a couple weeks ago when I trained right before the Vigorous Q&A, then my sincere apologies. I'll be stretching my legs and sitting funky. So I don't lock up while we're answering questions. Man, I got something in my throat. All right. Let's get started with some member questions. Liam Howie asks, hey, Steve, wanted to ask you if you're still experimenting with performance-enhancing drugs after you have a baby, or will you stop and just do TRT? I'll probably run some experiments, but nothing crazy, right? I'm more about moderate dosages, even though I just started 10 IUs of growth hormone, for fuck's sake, and we lost monetization. But that is going well so far. I'll do my serum test tomorrow. So I might run some experiments, but nothing crazy anymore. I mean, I'm kind of over the crazy dosages, and I'm happy around 100 kilos. So I'm hovering around 100 kilos right now, 225 pounds. Maybe I'll get up to 230. And maybe when the bug bites me right before the Mr. Olympia, because I'll have to sit next to Chase Aarons and Paul Burnett and Kurt Havens and all of these other guys that are like full-time bodybuilders. Maybe 8 weeks out, I'll be, you know what, I'm going to show up at 240. So I don't look like a skinny little boy next to these guys. But experimentation, I mean, I'll run another cerebral lysin experiment. I decided to postpone that cerebral lysin. I won't run it right away. It's already arrived, but I'm going on a trip right to Dubai and Holland, and I don't want to break my cerebral lysin treatment of 10 milliliters intramuscularly before bed. I want to run that for 1 or 2 months straight, and then make an update video with a deep dive attached to that as well. So I have some first-hand experience again, because the last time I ran cerebral lysin, we're talking years ago, and cerebral lysine is always a good seller with the affiliates, and it was a popular video. So I think it warrants another deep dive in a literature review. And then by that time, I should definitely be through the nandrolone video and the HCG video and a couple other deep dives. So it will be good to do some cerebral lysine. And cerebral lysine is picking up in the news because Brian Johnson is on the brain-derived neurotropic factor gain train himself. So, and methylene blue I haven't tried yet. And a couple other nootropics I haven't tried yet. So there will always be some experiments, but crazy high dosage experiments, probably not. All right. So, and yeah, I last week somebody recommended to me a beta 3 receptor antagonist or agonist. Man, what was it called? I already have it at home, but I forgot the name. What is it? Yeah, a beta-3 adrenergic receptor agonist, Mirabegron, is a potential anti-obesity drug. So last week, some doctor recommended it. And I was like, you know what? It's available here in Thailand. So I did some research for about 2 hours, and it looks very, very promising. Doesn't seem to stimulate the beta-adrenergic receptors in the heart. So technically, it shouldn't increase heart rate. And I don't think that's a part as a common side effect, even though it can increase blood pressure. But that's also a side effect of clenbuterol and other stimulants, other stimulatory fat burners. So I might run that and see if it can be a valid replacement for clenbuterol without the stimulatory effect on the heart. So that's already arrived. So I'll run that probably next Monday for a week. And then that will be the next experiment that I'm running. All right. So experiments will never end, but crazy high dosages, those days are behind me. And well, if I'm already 105 kilos and on 350 milligrams per week and then a good amount of GH and IGF-1, then what's the point to run more, right? I'm just going to ruin my blood work and make myself more lethargic. Danny Boy asks, hey, Steve, after your first cycle, is it best to run a post-cycle therapy protocol or is cruising just as effective? Well, post-cycle therapy protocol is very effective for testicular function and restoring your hypothalamic pituitary testicular signaling. And cruising is very effective to sustain your strength, your size, albeit that body composition degrades, falls apart slightly over time, but it's not as bad as following a PCT protocol. So what are you after? Right? Are you after maintaining all of your gains and coming into your next cycle strong and hard and full and dense? Or do you want to recover your HPTA and then your second cycle will be basically starting at baseline again as you were at your first cycle, albeit that you have the myonuclei. So the muscle memory is a little bit more favorable in your position. So the progress that you're going to make in the first month is insane. And then you're going to continue from where you left off on your first cycle. How about we do it like this? You use human chorionic gonadotropin. Watch that deep dive. It will drop hopefully next week, but it might drop the next week because, again, there will be a lot of editing. So watch that video and run HCG alongside your cycles and then cruise with testosterone and HCG. Maybe 500 IUs 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And the cruise dose of 150, 200, 250 milligrams testosterone over the week. That should be more than enough to sustain all of the gains that you made on your first cycle. And then once you clean out from all the other stuff that you ran in your first cycle, your liver parameters come back, your cholesterol levels come back, complete blood count comes back over the course of 2, 3, 4 months, and then you're ready for another blast or another second cycle, and then you make more gains. It really depends what you're after, man. I did a PCT after my first cycle, and I recovered just fine, and then I traveled for a year, and I lost all my gains. Because when you're traveling, you're just eating street food, and you don't really go to the gym. Maybe some push-ups and vigorous sex with the locals, but that's about it. Right? That's mostly cardio. So it really depends what you're after, man. For a guy that's really after bodybuilding, I would recommend a first cycle consisting of blasting and cruising for about 2 years, and then you come off. Yeah, so you can make all those gains and make some sweet progress, and then solidify that, and then recover your HPTA just to see if it comes back, which it did for my case. I've done many APCT, so it's a sucky process. Free Me USA. I've been using suspensions, makes me happy and horny, allergic to propionate, trying annotate, but makes me short fused for the same milligrams. Okay, well, that's good to know. Oh, wait, here's the second question. Too many bumps from the suspension. The annotate is smooth, but the temper. Man, you need to learn some writing skills, but so we can pronounce your question a little bit easier. But give it a try, man. Do it subcutaneously, microdosages every single day, and then see how you respond. I'm not sure how you're going to respond. So the only real way of knowing is by getting your hands dirty. And testosterone suspensions, yeah, will leave some lumps and bumps and some scar tissue over time. Did Bonac winning the Empro Classic? Your thoughts on Bonac winning the Empro Classic? He was in shape, but he was not the Bonac as before, which I discussed with Chase Irons or Paul Burnett. I can't remember, those podcasts are like 2 days apart. Chest fullness was a little bit down. Back fullness was a little bit down. Arms and legs were crazy. The right leg looked a little bit jimmy up, like he couldn't flex it. Like the separation of the quad was not really there. And I think he tore his left lat. Right? I'm nitpicking here because his conditioning was good. Or his fullness, his overall balance was great. But I had Behrouz Tabani winning the finals. But that's based on pictures. So I think Bonac can improve significantly for the Mr. Olympia. I think this weekend is Nathan Diaz versus Behrouz Tabani. I think Nathan Diaz is going to take it because Nathan looks fucking insane. And, Nathan is probably not going to make it to the Olympia because of criminal record, and Behrouz Tabani is not going to make it to the Olympia because of his Iranian passport, and he's never gotten a invitation to the U.S. So I think whoever wins this weekend, both of them will not show up at the Mr. Olympia, but you never really know, right? I think Bonac has a lot of improvements to do. I hope he can fix his quad and his lat and bring the fullness back. But his conditioning was flawless, better than I've seen it for the last couple of years. And if he built on that, and I know Stefan Kienzel is a very good coach, so I'm sure they went back to the drawing board, and this shot were probably like, yo, we're going to get in the crazy conditioning, and for the Mr. Olympia, we're going to bring some fullness, or that's what I'm assuming. So if he has some time to improve, we're 16 weeks out now, and he brings the fullness back, then he can definitely be another top 5, or be in the top 5 again. Be in the top 5 again. But I was a little bit disappointed by the lack of fullness. Listening was fucking stellar, though. My presentation, posing, all that stuff was great. Robert Malik asks, hey, Steve, I believe the dosage of Increlex is different from IGF-1 LR3. Is there a daily dosage range that you can stay on IGF-1 LR3 so you don't have to come off cycle? Thank you. No, I think like the effective dose is bringing your serum IGF-1 levels to the top of the reference range. Although IGF-1 LR3 doesn't always detect this IGF-1 on blood work results, so sometimes you see that IGF-1 doesn't budge, but you get clear fullness and clear results, and you send that in for third-party testing, and it comes back with 95-99% purity. So you know the IGF-1 LR3 is in there; it just doesn't detect on blood work. With the Increlex, that's certainly the case because it's recombinant, and it's 100% identical to the IGF-1 that you produce endogenously. So I think you still need to bring your IGF-1 levels to the top or superphysiological levels. And it also means that after a while, you'll slowly lose the receptor sensitivity. Can you extend that with something like sitagliptin or another dipeptidyl peptidase 4 inhibitor, or bridging with metformin for a week to restore your insulin or IGF-1 receptor sensitivity? Yes, you can. Right, I've been running Increlex all the way through, and I don't lose any sensitivity. But with IGF-1 LR3, it seems to occur. So maybe there's a difference because IGF-1 LR3 has been modified to be longer acting and has less affinity for the IGF-1 binding proteins. So maybe through the affinity of the binding proteins, Increlex stays active for longer periods of time, and I don't need to cycle off. So maybe that's the difference, but of course not everybody can source Increlex. All right, some member questions that people asked in the private member thread on YouTube. So Jay Rodino asks, hey Steve, I got off TRT 12 months ago for fertility. I went to urologist for hypogonadism. You prescribe 3,000 IUs HCG 3 times per week and 75 IUs recombinant FSH 3 times a week. What are your thoughts? Personally, I would reduce the HCG to 1,000 IUs and increase the FSH to 75 IUs every single day, because 3,000 IUs HCG is not really required from all of the research that I've done and will discuss in the HCG deep dive, and my personal experience, because there seems to be diminishing returns beyond 500 IUs HCG regarding testosterone levels, and then estradiol levels just go up disproportionately. So one of the reasons why I didn't go over 1,000 IUs HCG 3 times per week is because I didn't want my estradiol to moon. Right? You could see in my blood work results that testosterone was like 800 to 900 nanograms per deciliter, but estradiol is 45, sometimes even 50 picograms per milliliter. So I'm almost at the top of the reference range, but I'm slightly superphysiological on the estradiol, right? Almost to the top on total testosterone, but over the range on estradiol. And I'm sure if I went to 3,000 IUs HCG, as you can clearly see from the scientific evidence, serum estradiol will be 75 to 150 picograms per milliliter. So you definitely need an aromatase inhibitor on that. And semen parameters don't really seem to improve beyond 1,000 IUs either. Now, if you have hypogonadism, means that your PCT was not successful. You probably went on TRT because you were hypogonadal. And in that case, the dosages are higher because it's just medically used. But my recommendation would be to drop the HCG and increase the FSH. Yeah, 75 IUs every single day. It's more expensive. Even though you're shaving off the dose of HCG, it will be more expensive because FSH is a lot more expensive. But well, there's places to buy that online for significantly cheaper. All right. So you might want to shop that extra 4 servings of 75 IUs FSH online and stock up the HCG that your doctor prescribed you. And then you run it for a longer period of time. When you go back on TRT, you keep the HCG in there at 500 IUs 3 times a week. So hopefully your fertility parameters are improving, man. It takes a while. Iron Grid asks, Steve, since you're older than me by 2 decades, how to make a feel man old without telling him he's old. How did you get over the early 20s feeling of having to commit to something in life? I can't help but feel anxiety for the future, but so far I'm managing. Dude, your life, your priorities will change, man. At 20 years old, I had no idea what the fuck I wanted to do. I went to university. I was almost graduating at 20 years old. And the world changes every 5 years, man. I thought I was going to make a career as a business consultant, work corporate and climb the corporate ladder, and then, ending up at a salary of maybe $25,000 a month, which sounded fucking good at that time. But that's kind of the ceiling as a consultant, if you're a CEO of a hotel, you can make significantly more, or a CEO of a business, or if you're self-employed, you can make significantly more. So the best thing you can do is just to enjoy yourself. And if you're 20 years old, enjoying yourself means going to parties, hooking up with girls, not taking life so seriously, it's blowing your money on nice clothes and maybe a motorbike or maybe a car if you're legal to drive. And just have fun, man. Because by the time you're 30, you can not have as much fun anymore as in your 20s because you have fucking responsibilities already. Right? You're graduated, you probably have a house or a rental, probably have a relationship. But when you're 20, man, you don't have a care in the world. You probably still live with your parents. You just don't have to give a fuck about anything. So don't worry about the future. The future will come automatically unless you fuck up and you kill yourself somehow. But the future will come. All you have to do is enjoy the moment, but not let it detract from your long-term health. All right. So if you want to party, go ahead and party, but don't go partying every day. All right. If you want to do some traveling, wear a condom, obviously, because some of those diseases might come around to bite you in the long run. So I would just enjoy yourself, but with moderation, and slowly start planning for the future and see what you're interested in now that you can monetize and that you can do later on, and whether that's through social media or starting a business or finding a job that you absolutely love, right? That's something you're going to have to figure out. I thought I was going to be a business consultant, and now I'm a fucking YouTuber talking about steroids. So, right, life changes. I'm having a lot more fun doing this than I did being a business consultant, even though the hours are more. Dubster Buster asks, hey, coach, besides the well-known blood markers related side effects, what are the most common side effects of Anavar that you can actually notice, as in acid reflux? Yeah, I think acid reflux is the only one. Right? Your lipids will skew, your liver enzymes will go up, thyroid binding globulin levels decrease, so your free thyroid hormones might shoot up and then come down because now they're being metabolized, your metabolism goes up slightly. So, but it usually balances itself out. So acid reflux, that's the only thing I would say is noticeable. Maybe slight irritation, but it's definitely not as bad as Primobolan or Masteron for that matter. Even though some guys feel great on Masteron. So I know I don't know, man. It's acid reflux, and that seems to be the case with most orals, but Anavar particularly, especially if you combine it with Cialis. Oh man, acid reflux galore. Well, I have a video about that. Let me link it down below. It goes down. I remember that intro from the top of my head. Okay. Dubster Buster asks, hey Steve, please debunk this. Does Proviron lower SHBG, or does it simply bind to the SHBG because of its high affinity without lowering SHBG? There seems to be no concrete concern or consensus about this. I know that free testosterone might increase in both scenarios, but I'd like to understand the mechanism. Even so, blood work from a guy that had higher SHBG after starting Proviron. I've never seen that ever. So maybe the Proviron was actually the Anabol, and the methyl estradiol was increasing SHBG through estrogen-like effects. But then estradiol would also be significantly higher, obviously. So if everything that I know and all the research that I've done, even though I haven't made the Proviron deep dive, which will probably be made last because I don't like Proviron. There's like one application for it, and that's to lower SHBG. So two things. It lowers SHBG in a dose-dependent fashion, but, you know, a molecule for molecule, obviously one molecule for Proviron for one molecule of SHBG. It displaces testosterone because it has a higher affinity for the sexual binding globulin, so it enters and just stays there, and that testosterone circles around, but nobody lets it in, like he's the uninvited guy to a party, right? Try to get into the window, not allowed. Try to get to the back door, not allowed. Try to join the guys in the pool party, not allowed. And then testosterone leaves very sad and converts into estradiol. Although Proviron also enters the aromatase enzyme, and then testosterone can't convert it into estradiol there either. So it's like the second party that testosterone goes to. Not invited either. Not invited either. So I spit all over my screen. Yeah, so Proviron basically is like a cock block to testosterone for all of the enzymatic reactions that, or the enzymes and the carrier proteins that are in the blood. Sucks. So, and in this process, because it has such a high affinity, it does lower SHBG, but I'm not entirely sure if SHBG production goes up, but the SHBG goes to the sexual binding globulin receptor complex and gets stuck there, so serum concentration's lower, or that it actually increases the metabolism of SHBG through, and which enzymes metabolize? Is it dipeptidyl peptidase 4? No, I don't think so, because it's those inhibitors are not known to increase SHBG levels. So there's some enzymes that break down SHBG. So it lowers it, and it prevents the binding of testosterone to it, thus freeing up more testosterone, which technically should increase the potential of the conversion of testosterone into estradiol, because now you have more free testosterone that could enter the aromatase enzymes. But Proviron also enters the aromatase enzymes and blocks the conversion of testosterone into estradiol. Does it enter the 5-alpha-reductase enzymes, the 3 isoforms, and prevent the conversion of testosterone into dihydrotestosterone, and now you get less DHT in serum? That I never investigated, but I guess we'll get to that when we get to the Proviron deep dive. James asks, Coach, what do you think about making a topical solution with testosterone-supporting nutrients like zinc, selenium, carnitine, B9, tocopherols that is applied transdermally to the scrotum, scrotal skin? Go for it. I don't like testosterone creams, and I'm not even sure if zinc, selenium, carnitine, B9, tocopherols would all absorb transdermally. But I don't know. If you have a winning formula on your hand, patent it and sell it to the compounding pharmacies. Maybe it will work. I know. I have no opinion on it. I would inject my tests and inject my carnitine and take everything else orally, just like a good boy should. Terrible. Danny asks, can you run your first ever newbie cycle of 300 milligrams testosterone enanthate and 400 milligrams Primo for 18 weeks if blood work is good within acceptable parameters? Yes. Next. Hey, Coach, what would you recommend for an athlete in explosive power sport like 100 milligrams to 200 milligrams sprinting? Dronate, alpha GPC, methylene blue, EPO, and maybe a low dose of testosterone and turinabol. And I mentioned all of this in the MMA video, which is applicable for any explosive sport. Let's see here. So that would be my recommendation. All right, let's start doing some super chats. I'm sure there are many. How can clotting risk be evaluated for enclomiphene? Well, you can go to the scientific literature and enclomiphene clinical trials. Clotting. Where is it? I'm not sure. There's so many clinical trials, but there's one that shows like 0.5% clotting risk on 200 subjects. First offense. Is this the one? Pulmonary embolism. No. Deep vein thrombosis. Yeah, that's the one. 0.5%. 1 out of 207 subjects. I think that's a low percentage, but it's still a percentage. All right, it's linked down below. Enclomiphene in the clinical trials. And, well, of course, if you're vitamin D3 and vitamin K deficient, you increase the risk for clots. If you're not checking your clotting factors when you're taking selective estrogen receptor modulators, you're just dumb as fuck. And all the doctors that I talk to, when they prescribe enclomiphene monotherapy, at least they check the clotting factors, which you can easily determine on blood work results. So that's definitely something I would do before considering enclomiphene, and read the clinical trials and then decide for yourself if it's worth the risk. Personally, for me, it's not worth the risk because we live in a day and age where blood clots are handed out freely. So if you've had the flurona or you got vaxxed, I wouldn't fucking touch it. I wouldn't fucking touch it. Right? And if you have some cardiovascular disease in your family, you might have plaque buildup somewhere that's undiagnosed, then the clot can be smaller and then still block your arteries because your arteries are narrow from the plaque that is built up, right? So a lot of things go into self-diagnosis, and it's important to kind of determine. Aromatase inhibitor video was a good cardio watch. Okay, that's good to hear. At least somebody watched it. Prevent GH gut when taking IGF-1 LR3 on a bulk. Only eat food that you can digest and do an occasional fast. I know Paul Burnett did a 1-day fast out of the week, and Roman Fritz did that as well. And their waistlines are absolutely stellar, even on 10 IUs of growth hormone. I mean, I'm running 10 IUs of growth hormone myself. My waist didn't get any wider. So, but I eat perfectly, besides Sunday, but then I don't take growth hormone. So I think it's a lot of this waist increase is eating food that is not matched to your digestive tract. Maybe your candida overgrowth, obviously intestinal inflammation, and just water retention from having a lot of growth and insulin. And if you're taking like, inter-workout carbs and you're taking insulin around that time, and especially Humalog, and all these inter-workout carbs are rapidly digesting, like dextrose, glucose, etc., then maybe some of that you store as visceral fat, and now all this visceral fat is slowly blowing out your organs. But you can also determine that with a DEXA scan. Right? A DEXA scan can see or give you information how much visceral fat you have, or you do an ultrasound in your organs. So self-diagnosis every month, every couple of months, just to be preventative about it. And then at the first time of trouble, whether that's on your blood work or on the DEXA scan, you pull the plug. Instead of running your growth hormone and your insulin and your inter-workout carbs run wild for a year, and then you look down and you can't see your penis, even though you have a full 8-pack, you're fucking shredded, but you have so much visceral fat buildup. So I don't think that there's organ growth. I think that's really blown out of proportion if you eat healthy. I mean, there's so many IFBB pros who can pull vacuums and they're clearly on a boatload of GH. They just eat better than people did before. They don't fuck around with, the processed foods. They eat perfectly healthy and focus on their intestinal health. Take some probiotics, prebiotics, digestive enzymes, apple cider vinegar, beta hydrochloride, right? There's so mmany ways to do that. Oxbile, Tutka, etc. Man, there's so many ways. So And then you slowly start ramping up the growth hormone dosages. But my waist is fucking flat. You know what is weird? Like 10 IUs of growth hormone is kind of killing my appetite. So I forgot to eat like almost a meal per day the last week. So my waist is fucking streamlined. I'm just working and not even hungry. Maybe that GH that I take has some GLP-1 mixed in there. With underground labs, you never really know, man. How many administrations per day should I split Proviron in? I think morning and evening, 12.5 milligrams if you're on cycle, but 6.25 milligrams is usually enough to bring SHBG down in most people. And you can always increase. Matthew Gregg, what's up, bro? Hey, Steve, any interactions with Emoxypine and Trimetazidine when taking Cardarine and Carnitine? No, I don't think so. But off the top of my head, I might have forgotten something, but I would have mentioned that in the endurance deep dive video. Trying to get my running endurance up. Yes, I've watched endurance deep dive, which I loved. I think Trimetazidine. Going to be brutally honest, I totally forgot about Trimetazidine and what it does. I have to check my notes. But if it interacted with something, like I think Emoxypine goes well with methylene blue because they're both antioxidants and help with mitochondrial functioning. Trimetazidine is supporting the heart, right? And Cardarine and Carnitine has a synergistic effect regarding fat oxidation. So no, I don't think there's any negative interactions. If anything, throw in the methylene blue and run this entire stack. I think your endurance will go up significantly. Yeah, just be careful with the Trimetazidine because yeah, it's pretty strong. Did you review Bonac's protocol in BioBros? No comment, dude. Guys keep asking. Whoever pros we reviewed, then we will take that to the grave, right? So, I mean, could be Bonac, could be somebody else, could be anybody. Maybe we all faked it. Maybe it was my blood work, my cycle. Who knows? Bill Tedesco, $10. All right, I don't see a question, but I'll keep my eye on it for your question if there's any. Nothing so far. All right, I'll take your $10. Much appreciated. We'll go into the sushi fund for tomorrow. Hey, Steve. Interested in Miglyol 840 as a carrier oil because of low viscosity, ability to hold a lot without ethyl oleate. It's talked about as legendary. Opinions. You have not watched the carrier oil deep dive video, which you should watch. Because I think Miglyol 840 is not suitable because it causes inflammation in some people, even though it is very, very, very easy to suspend stuff in and easy to inject, it might be adverse. So I would go with MCT oil instead. Nobody has a problem with that. And it makes brewing very easy from what I understand. And injection also very easy. But it's not refined or refractured into a Miglyol. And again, do you want inflammation or not? So I would go with MCT oil over Miglyol 840. Just make sure it's USP grade that is made for injection, and then run it through a Wattman filter so everything's sterile and there's no toxins and pollutants and metals and whatever. Evolutionary Performance asks PSA total 044 on 140 milligrams TRT, PSA total on 350 milligrams testosterone, 125 milligrams Anavar. So that's what 25 milligrams 5 times a week. 200 milligrams Masteron weekly was 0.66. Should you be worried, brother? Reference range is below 4. Good. Well, prostate-specific antigen is a marker of inflammation. So maybe you ejaculated the day before, or you had sex, right? You masturbated, you ejaculated, you had sex. It's all the same category. The day before doing blood work, and that increased your prostate-specific antigen. I've seen prostate-specific antigen well over 4 on multiple results on a guy that I did consultations with that was a porn star, who I based on the libido videos and the increasing the penis size videos. I did several consultations with this guy, and his PSA was always like 4, 5, 6. But the guy had sex every fucking day for long scenes and monstrous erections using a penis pump, right, to have even a bigger penis. And he did a biopsy and an ultrasound, and nothing was going on. And then the doctor said, it was in LA, It's like, well, this is pretty common with porn stars because you guys use your member all the time. So just keep your eye on it. If you see a progressive increase of prostate-specific antigen and free prostate-specific antigen, then I would be worried. But this could just be a moment in time, and it could be that you know, came the day before the test, and the other time you didn't come the day before the test. I mean, I see fluctuations in my PSA levels every time I check it, depending on how hard I ejaculated the day before, or none at all. So keep this in mind. And if you suddenly see a 5, then I would be worried. But this is even though it's a 50% increase, it's still well below the reference range. So I would say that this is inflammation in the prostate coming from something, which is very likely just to be from you having a good time. All right, let's do member questions. Hey, Steve, when should I do my estrogen test after I stop taking terminal acetate, since Tren will fuck up my estradiol results? So I did it 3 weeks after. And since trenbolone metabolizes from the body quite rapidly, and I'm not entirely sure if, or trenbolone acetate, if some of the metabolites, right, there's a good amount of metabolites of trenbolone that are long-lasting and, you know, detectable through a doping test, right, from WADA or USADA or IOC, whatever. I'm not sure if those detect as estradiol. So I think trenbolone metabolized in 2 weeks, if I remember the trenbolone deep dive well. Just a couple days. I think it was fully metabolized within 2 weeks, and then the metabolites are there for like months afterwards. But of course, it depends on which carrier oil you use and if you went intramuscular or subcutaneously, right? Because it will just keep leaking from the injection depot and keep serum levels sustained. So I went from 108 or 110 picograms per milliliter to 44 picograms per milliliter after 3 weeks of not taking trenbolone. So that's within normal parameters and where I would expect my serum estradiol to be at 150 milligrams a test, 125 milligrams Primo, and 500 IUs HCG 3 times per week, give or take, because it's half the dose of HCG that I was running before. And on 1,000 IUs HCG 3 times per week, my serum estradiol was also around 45 picograms per milliliter, right, on most of the blood work results, sometimes 38, sometimes 50. Kind of depends on how fat I am and what else I'm doing and if I was taking a boatload of zinc or not, right? So all these things factor into it. I would wait 2 weeks and then retest again. Yeah, 2 weeks. But if you can wait longer, then wait longer. Or am I behind? Oh, man, I'm like behind for 15 minutes. All right, not too bad. Vigorous movie recommendation of the week. Biker movie. Already forgot the name. Terrible with names. The Bike Riders. Yeah, that was it called, right? The Bike Riders with Bike Riders. Definitely do not watch The Acolyte. Holy shit. Austin Butler, who plays in the Elvis movie and Dune 2, and Tom Hardy, who plays in Bronson. If you know, you know. And in Star Trek, I don't know, one of the later ones, is Shinzon, the clone of Picard. And he also plays in Venom, obviously. But Bronson, that's a great movie with Tom Hardy. And Jodie Corner, never heard of her. And Michael Shannon. Everybody loves Michael Shannon. That guy's fucking creepy. Yeah, Bike Riders, that was great. If you like motorcycling, it's a great little niche movie. Corey Kelch, how would one go about cycling TRT if not wanting to be on year round? You do HCG monotherapy in between. So you do TRT for a while, you run HCG at 250 IUs 3 times a week or 500 IUs 3 times a week. And then you stop the exogenous testosterone and you increase the HCG to, let's say, 1,000 IUs 3 times a week. So you stay on HCG, but you're lower HCG when you're on TRT. So you're on HRT, right? Hormone replacement therapy, because you have 2 compounds in the mix and you probably need an aromatase inhibitor. And then, but you keep the testicular function going the entire year through. 3 months on TRT, 3 months on HCG monotherapy, 3 months on TRT, and then 3 months on HCG monotherapy. But I would not do a PCT in the meantime because you need time to PCT. It takes about a month, maybe 6 weeks, and maybe your levels will never recover to a satisfactory number, and then you feel depressed. I mean, there's a reason why you're on TRT right now, right? So I would not go that route. Iron Grade, man, the semaglutide horrible for me. I haven't even hit 1,500 calories today, but this meal 520 calories with some chicken, I will fucking throw up. Yeah, semaglutide is brutal, man. Microdose it, small amount, 0.25 milligrams, 0.5 milligrams, 3 times a week. Don't take the full amount. Don't take 1 milligram in one go. It's too much. You'll be vomiting. Yeah, note to self, 0.5 is more than enough. Yeah, split up the dose, man. Or take 10 IUs of growth hormone like I do. It might even be cheaper. Oh, the semaglutide is what, $200 for a vial of 5 milligrams, 10 milligrams. It's getting cheaper though. Yeah, you won't get that price for growth hormone. Fat loss is insane also. Just every day I wake up leaner. So good stuff. What are your thoughts? James B asks, what are your thoughts on combining cytoflavin, B2, B3, inositol, succinate with amoxicillin pre-workout together with Bemetil? I've never used cytoflavin, but Emoxypine and Bemetil, yeah, this goes well together. So I know. Do it and report back to us. Right. Jatin, is there any question attached to that? Please see my question. I don't see your question, buddy. Let me scroll up. Oh, here. Hello, Steve. A quick question, please. I've been trying to reach out. I'm on dutasteride, 0.5 milligrams 3 times a week, also on 250 milligrams testosterone enthate. Will this affect my gains? Please guide, and can I do anything about it? I don't think that lowering your DHT levels will affect your gains at all. I mean, DHT has some estrogen lowering effects, so your estradiol levels might obviously go up on this much test, so you probably need an aromatase inhibitor as well. Right? The 5-reductase inhibitors are linked to gynecomastia. I don't think it will affect your gains at all, man. I mean, DHT, it is said it has no anabolic effects, but then when you read the forums of guys using diet testosterone enanthate, they say it was the best injectable compound they ever took, besides testosterone. So, but you're on 250 tests, which brings your levels to what, 2,000 nanograms per deciliter, and reducing your DHT levels with 70% or 80%, 90%. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. Will it destroy your dick in the process? Probably. Right? DHT is required for testicular function or the libido and penile function and engorgement and that kind of stuff. So don't overdo it. Keep track of your DHT levels. Don't crush it. Just bring it down low enough to the point you don't lose hair. But don't bring it down low enough to the point you lose your erections or your motivation. There was one guy who chatted, Bill Tedesco. Let me see if there's question from this guy. I just super chat me. I make sure that I answer it so you can get your money's worth. I don't see it. Well, I'll keep my eye on it. Where are we? Rafael Miseo. I'm on 200 tests, 10 IUs growth hormone a week, and 10 milligrams Anavar a day. Somebody's stealing my cycles. But what are you taking? 2 IUs growth hormone 5 days a week? Or 5 days a week? Currently, I'm at 20% body fat and want to lower it to 10%. What do you suggest? Keep the cycle the same, but adjust your food, obviously, because the cycle is only going to preserve muscle or make you grow. But they're poor fat burners. Now, growth hormone will help with fat loss a little bit. So maybe you take 2 IUs before fasted cardio, or you take it before bed, depending on what you prefer. I take 10 IUs sub-Q before bed every single day. My fat loss is absolutely insane, but I'm also spending an arm and a leg on the growth hormone, even though I'm getting it at a fat discount. It might not be within your budget. So, and water retention is also brutal. So I would not do that at 20% body fat. Maybe wait until you're like 12% body fat and then throw the kitchen sink of growth hormone at it if you can afford it. So right now I would just do 2 IUs growth hormone sub-Q before bed or intramuscular before fasted cardio 5 days a week, but 7 days would be better. Keep the test the same, keep the Anavar the same, and reduce your calories by 10% every 4 weeks until you're lean. And keep adding in, keep doing the cardio. It's not rocket science, man, it's to get lean. But it's not only about the drugs. I mean, the body fat needs to be burned off, and for that you need to do activity, and for the body fat to be released, you need to be in a caloric deficit. It's that simple. I'm in a caloric deficit, and I'm doing the cardio, and I'm doing the steps, and I'm going to the gym, and I'm walking in between sets, and I'm doing the drugs, obviously. So guess what? I'm getting leaner every day. Big BX. Is there something with running Crestor and Anavar? I thought you mentioned it before. Currently on 10 milligrams Crestor. Is that a statin? Crestor. Rosuvastatin. I can't remember if there's a drug interaction with rosuvastatin and oxandrolone. What does Google say? The metabolism of rosuvastatin can be decreased when combined with oxandrolone. Ah, there we go. So that's on Drug Bank. So oxandrolone might make your rosuvastatin more potent, which might be something that you're after, because oxandrolone will also skew with your lipids. I'll link it down below. It's on Drug Bank. No, but off the top of my head, I don't know what the drug interaction is. Statins lower your LDL, and the oxandrolone increases your total cholesterol and your LDL levels. So maybe you break even when you combine both. I would still prefer ezetimibe over a statin, but maybe you need it. Thoughts on tirzepatide or semaglutide for fat fuck with binging disorder? Tirzepatide, go for it. It will kill your appetite, man. 0.5 milligram, 1 milligram, 3 times a week. It will kill your appetite and fast. After a month on tirzepatide, fast for 1 week, and it'll probably cure your binging. Yeah, it will probably cure your binging. I've seen so many successes, and myself included, man. I used to go to 7-Eleven every weekend. Haven't done that in ages. And I fast every 3 months for a week. You know, I did it as soon as I came back from China. Of course, in China, in Nanning, I ate, Beijing duck in Nanning. And Nanning duck, or was it goose? I can't remember. I ate all kinds of weird shit when I was there. But I don't really have a sweet tooth anymore. I used to, but I don't really have it anymore. Once in a while, I have a donut or a cheesecake, but it's after dinner. But before, I would eat a cheesecake and then go for a bucket of Ben and Jerry's and then get M&Ms, right? And you just go into the spiral of food abuse. So fasting cured that for me well before I ever took tirzepatide. And on tirzepatide, you don't even think about it. I mean, even with growth hormone, now I'm thinking about what should I eat tomorrow. My wife was like, "Yeah, we should go to Beirut, eat some Lebanese food." I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. My face is gonna be this big, and I record on Monday, and then everybody's gonna point out to Steve, you look fat. Maybe you should stop the growth hormone. No, I ate like a pig the day before. Give me a break. I got a life. I got a wife and a life. I got to eat like a pig sometimes. But which is weird when you talk about Lebanese food because there's no pork, obviously, on the menu. It's only beef and chicken and lamb. No pork. So to bring it back, I got off topic again. To bring it back, tirzepatide. Yeah, it will help you control your appetite. It's expensive, but all the money that you're not spending on binge foods, you can spend on tirzepatide, and you probably end up spending less money. Yeah. Yeah, for fat fucks with a binging disorder, this is what tirzepatide, semaglutide, liraglutide, dulaglutide, and retatrutide, not retardutide, retatrutide, is made for. Does nandrolone have the same issues as Tren when it falsely shows up as estradiol in non-sensitive tests? Yes. Yeah, nandrolone can also show up as estradiol. But the last time I ran nandrolone 50 milligrams per week, it did not increase my estrogen levels, but it might still help on other kinds of tests. I think about adding in 100 milligrams NPP for joint support. I can ask Aaron. Let me ask him right now because he's running like 700 MPP. He'll probably not reply now, but then I know for the next time you guys ask me. Where's Aaron? Did the NP? You know what NPP stands for? Somebody with a stuttering problem, right? They want to say no problem, but they say no problem. NPP. No problem. Nandrolone for knee propionate. It's a bad joke, right? I had to throw it out there. Did the NPP show up as estradiol on your blood work results? Like Tren did on mine. Now, let's see if he's awake. But it's Saturday, so he might be busy. I think I've seen it, but not here in Thailand. So let's see what happens. Otherwise, we'll know next week. Hey Steve, what can I do to lower my potassium? It's 6.1. That's pretty high. I don't supplement with any potassium on 300 test, 300 Primo, 75 milligrams of Tren. Maybe you need to hydrate more and drink more sodium and magnesium and calcium to offset the potassium that's in your blood. And it could be that your transporters like vitamin K, vitamin D3 are not sufficient. And that's why the potassium is in your blood. Or you're following a ketogenic diet and there's no carbohydrates to kind of keep your potassium in the skeletal muscle. Or the nurse stabbed your vein a little bit harder and then went through the vein, pierced your skeletal muscle where a lot of potassium is stored. And now this potassium that is coming from your skeletal muscle is leaking into your vein, falsely detecting as serum potassium. So I hope I gave you all the potential options there. If it's a one-off and you have terrible bruising, like this, for example, if you have terrible bruising, yeah, maybe they went a little bit too deep, which is not always a bad thing. But in the case of blood work, it is. Sometimes going in very deep is very enjoyable. Sean Sullivan, welcome to the Vigorous crew, bro. Iron Grid, member for 13 months. 13 months. Haven't been doing that. Haven't had a membership for that long? Man. My movie recommendation is the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, based on something real that happened during World War III. Secured my transport of U.S. ship to England by stealing the Axis vessel. Really cool. I did not like that movie at all. I think this is the worst. What is his director's name? He was married to Madonna. Warfare, Ungentleman. Yeah, Guy Ritchie. I mean, Guy Ritchie has so much better work than this movie. I mean, it's nothing like Lock, Stock, and Smoking Barrels or The Gentleman or The Covenant. Covenant was great. Wrath of Man. Sherlock Holmes was a bit weak. Rock and Roller was good. Volver was good. Fountain of Youth was good. Man, I look into his his director and producer roles, and you'll see a lot better movies than this one. But it was okay. I watched it with half an eye. I was scrolling on my phone. But thanks for the suggestion nonetheless. If you liked it, you liked. This is the difference between a 20-year-old and a 40-year-old. 40-year-olds are harder to please. Yeah. Sean Sullivan, coach, part 1. All right. This is, well, fuck it. I'm going to answer it anyway. But this is better for consultations. All right. Part 1, 6'2", 230, 10 pounds. TRT has been 150 milligrams testosterone cypionate per week and 70 milligrams Primo daily subcutaneous injection. Labs look good except for HCl, which is generally low at 29 milligrams per deciliter, same as mine. Similar cycle, same HDL as mine. Estradiol is below 50 picograms per milliliter. Total testosterone 661. That's way too low for the amount of testosterone that you're on. It should be way more. Free 125 was taking dim calcium deglucarate because estrogen is usually a problem. Advice on TRT. Well, so you clearly don't need the dinomethane and calcium deglucarate. And I would keep the TRT dosage just the same and add in, remove the exemestane at 10 milligrams every day. That's way too high, clearly, because your estradiol is too low. Add in HCG to bring your estradiol back up at 500 IUs 3 times per week for testicular function. That will also raise your total testosterone levels. Give that 4 weeks a try and reduce the exemestane to... I don't even think you need it with Primo. Well, maybe you need it with Primo. I would leave the exemestane out for a month. Add in the HCG 500 IOs 3 times per week, remove the dinomethane, remove the calcium diglucarate, and remove the exemestane, and recheck your levels in a month. See where you're at. Yeah, I think everything will be good. Yeah, even the hug guy knows. Are you fucking kidding me? That's 3 estrogen-lowering compounds on 140 tests a week. Well, don't be too mean, but he is right. Bro, are you fucking kidding me? Bro, what the fuck? That was my reaction too, but I'm more civil. Regarding prolactin, it's 19.5 nanograms. I guess that's at the top of the reference range. I've been taking vitamin B6, P5P, 300 milligrams a day, and L-tyrosine, 1 to 2 grams daily. Doesn't really lower it from there. It's been 2 once. I have Prami. Give the Prami a try and see what happens. And take out what is raising the prolactin, right? Off the top of my head, Trenbolone, Nandrolone, Trestolone, wheat, kratom, chronic masturbation. What else? Thyroid deficiency. Also increase your prolactin. High estradiol levels, obviously. All right, so I hope they give you some ideas to address the root cause instead of throwing the Prami at it. So maybe if your estrogen is high, maybe you need an aromatase inhibitor. If you take nandrolone, trenbolone, trestolone solo or in combination, maybe take that out or reduce the dose. And maybe you do need a little Prami, at least to get some relief from this high prolactin so your dick can work again. So address the root cause and use the ancillaries as needed if that doesn't solve the problem. Ori, naturally, testosterone levels are 650. Don't necessarily need TRT, but really want to run a cycle to see how it feels. Best route to take. Watch the TRT videos. It will teach you everything you need to know. Watch this before your first cycle. I'll link them down below. It will literally teach you everything you need to know, buddy. And there's so much that I need to discuss before you go into it. So let me link the blood work that you need to do before your first cycle. Because it's not TRT if you don't need it medically. So be a man and call it what it is. I want to run steroids just like I did. I want to go on a fucking cycle, for fuck's sake. All right, it's all linked down below. Give that all a read and a watch. And you'll probably come to the conclusion that you can start with 1 ampule a week and then aromatase inhibitor and then add in HCG 4 weeks later because you want to see how you respond to the testosterone and the aromatase inhibitor first. Then add in the HCG, and then Pandora's box has been opened, and then we'll meet you halfway on the test Primo, Anavar, growth hormone, IGF-1, whatever else protocol that you're probably going to end up at. Because nobody ever just takes testosterone, bro. All right, you remember when you had your first beer and then you smoked weed and you had MDMA and cocaine later on in life? Yeah, TRT is a gateway drug. Actually, SARMs are a gateway drug because they make you androgen deficient. Yeah. Yeah, people who drink are more likely to smoke weed, and people who are smoke weed are more likely to take everything else. I've gone through the process already, man. Talking for experience. Joshua Reed, family history of prostate cancer. Should I be worried about using GH? PSA is 4, 29 years old. Yeah, I would do some cancer marker screening, which is also linked in the medical screening before the first cycle. It's all the way at the bottom at the cancer marker down below. So you have prostate-specific antigen, prostate-specific acid phosphatase, and free prostate-specific antigen. Check all of your cancer markers. And if you have prostate cancer in your family, you should kind of ask your family members with prostate cancer if they were in chronic oxidative stress from smoking, drinking, I don't know, working with asbestos, something like that, right? Working in the coal mines. You need to find out what the root cause of their prostate cancer was. And if your PSA is already, or it's 0.4. 0.4 is fine. I thought it was 4. PSA of 0.4, that's fine. Do your cancer markers every year. I have cancer in my family. I check them every year. I do organ imaging every year. I do an X-ray every year. And so far, so good. But at the first time in the trouble, at least the longest I'll be behind is 1 year. Of course, on 10, I use a growth hormone. It'll be too late, probably. But I also live a very healthy lifestyle. My grandmother got stomach cancer, and most likely due to acid reflux and just food intake, right? And I'm sure my parents will both get lung cancer because they're both smokers, or pancreatic cancer or liver cancer because they're both drinkers also. and they drink a little bit more than is good for them. But they seem to be quite resilient. So maybe there's hope. I tried, man. I fucking tried to get them off of it, but after 15 years of trying, you have to throw in the towel. DC81. Hey, Steve, running Deca only cycle 700 milligrams of estradiol is a little low. Okay, so Nandrolone is not detecting as estradiol in this case. 18. What can I add to bump it up a little bit? DHEA, HCG, testosterone, right? Whatever you can tolerate. But that will also all increase your testosterone levels because ultimately testosterone converts into estradiol. Testosterone is the precursor for estradiol. And if you want more estradiol, you have to raise your testosterone levels, or you have to start injecting estradiol valerate or benzoate, which is available. Send me an email, info@vigoroussteve.com, and you might be able to be pointed in the right direction. Yeah, and of course you can take the Anabol orally, 10 milligrams per day, but that's methyl estradiol, and I don't think that methyl estradiol has the same physiological benefits as regular estradiol has, because it's methylated. Yeah. Interesting, thanks. All right. Hey, Steve, in one of your podcasts, you mentioned Tren plus IGF-1 is injectable genetics. Why is that so? Well, it seems that Trenbolone increases IGF-1, but it also improves IGF-1 receptor sensitivity. That's why a lot of guys go hypo on Trenbolone. It improves insulin sensitivity and IGF-1 receptor sensitivity. So if your IGF-1 receptor sensitivity goes up, and you combine it with IGF-1 or IGF-1 LR3, then you get a synergistic response, right? And synergy is what we're after. I mean, I mutated 25 Tren and 500 Increlex. I had 25 Tren a week and 500 Increlex per day. And now my results are going to be less because the Trembolone sandwich is out, but I feel infinitely better, right? No more bronchoconstriction, no more irritability, no more profuse sweating, no more ravenous appetite. Now my appetite is a little bit suppressed from the copious amounts of growth hormone that I'm on. So it's significantly more expensive, though. Well, thank God for the super chats. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to afford all of this. Because somebody asked me, Steve, how much does this fucking cycle cost? And I started calculating street value, not what I pay. It costs about $1,000 to $1,200 a month. And but I pay significantly less because I have a very good understanding with my pharmacist. You know, my pharmacist is very kind, as I have been kind for the last 15 years sending business. I love business relations. You know, it goes from a bottle of wine to 3 boxes of growth hormone. Not free, but yeah, good price. Andrew Garcia, at what point when increasing doses of ancillaries to manage side effects, should you feel it back? Should you reel it back with the steroid dosages? Man, that's such a broad question. Andrew, can you narrow that down a little bit of which ancillaries and which cycles you're taking? What's up, cutie? What's up? Don't masturbate to that, though. That's not what we do here. But what's up, cutie? At what point? I don't know. I mean, if you can't manage the side effects with ancillaries, then obviously you need to reel back the dosages. So that's a broad answer for a broad question. Aaron Grit, there's some Lebanese pork dishes because they actually half Christian, half Muslim country. Oh yeah, that's right. I've never seen Lebanese. I've never seen pork on the Lebanese restaurant here in Thailand, and I've been to all of them. I even went to a Lebanese place in Nandi. Gotta get that chicken in, man. Gotta get those kebabs and the yellow rice. Oh, too good. Shout out to Lebanese food. It's the best. It's the best food ever, man. For bodybuilders, it's the best food. Sushi and Lebanese. There's nothing else. Sushi and Lebanese. Fuck the garlic sauces. Yeah, it makes you fart. Smell for a week. And we have toothpaste. Right mouthwash, Iron Grit. Come on, man. Cannot recommend Toom to anybody who has a girlfriend. Toom, what is that again? Shh. Garlic sauce. Oh, right. Yeah, I eat the whole fucking jar, dude. I go out for Lebanese food. They have like three. They have some spicy sauce, some yogurt thing, and then the tomb right in the middle. That one is always empty. Yeah, always empty. Whole week breath garlicky. It's okay, man. I have a wife. She eats the same shit. Steve, what's your current glute spread protocol? Well, I don't spread my glutes for no reason, so I either need to get arrested or well, do the prostate thingy. But nowadays we use the ultrasound for that, and all you need to do is hold your urine for a couple hours, and then you analyze your prostate from the front, not from the back. One time when I broke my leg in Thailand. It's a funny story. When I broke my leg in Thailand, I was in hospital for 5 days, and then I was sent home, repatriated, whatever the fucking word is, with a broken leg. It was horrible. So, and then they didn't want to accept me at the hospital because I thought it had MSRA, right? One of those hospital bacteria, which I don't know anybody in Thailand that ever got MSRA, but I know my grandmother got MSRA in one of the hospitals in Holland. So there you fucking go, right? Medical system in Holland, shit. Here in Thailand, fucking amazing. You just have to pay. So I did a glute spread at the hospital with my broken leg, which was very unfortunate. And then they took some samples from my butt crack. And I thanked the nurse royally for giving me almost a reach around. So yeah, that was the only glute spread I ever did. But if you want to build your glutes, reverse hyperextensions, a glute bridge, obviously, and the abduction machine, but you have to lean forward a little bit and then press with your feet, not your knees. Oh man, even if you do a glute spread, it will be so tight. Nobody will be able to get in. All right, where were we? Jesus G92. All right. Jesus. Thoughts on 1 gram testosterone, 300 EQ, 300 deca, estrogen, 15 picograms per milliliter, daily injections, low aromatization activity for me? Yes. 3 months on how to raise my estrogen a bit. Lower the EQ or increase the deca or both. Maybe 200 EQ, 500 deca. I think a gram of test is okay, but it highly depends on your libido and how you feel and how watery you are, because 300 deca already makes me watery as fuck. So, or maybe add in HCG, right? 500 IUs HCG 3 times a week will bring your estrogen up to maybe 40 picograms per milliliter. You maybe just do the HCG. Your testosterone levels will go up slightly, but your estradiol will come up for sure. James B, are there any cases on the repeat form where people have applied DHA and pregnenolone and DMCO tests? I've never went to the repeat form. Seems to be of a cult. Seems to be a bit of a cult. So go give it a try. All right, El Garrett. Are there any issues with using coenzyme Q10, vitamin E, berberine, citrus bergamot, and fish oil to help lipids improving with regular cardio? How would you dose or what would you add? Thanks, Uncle Steve. No issues. I do all of that. So I take 100 milligrams coenzyme or ubiquinol, right? The more potent active version of coenzyme Q10. 100 milligrams ubiquinol in the morning, evening, and then between 200 milligrams to 400 milligrams pre-workout. Today I did hamstrings, fucking heavy. So I took 400 milligrams ubiquinol. Ubiquinol is a great performance-enhancing over-the-counter supplement. Vitamin E, I take about 400 IUs on top of the vitamin E that I get from my diet. It's mixed tocopherols and tocotrienols. Berberine I only take in the weekend on Sunday following a cheat meal, 500 milligrams. But since bergamot, I take 500 milligrams in the morning, 500 milligrams in the evening. Fish oil, I take, and soon there's going to be a fish oil on the market. Fucking legendary. You will see. You will see, and we'll get a fat discount when it drops. Stay tuned. Don't buy any fish oil yet. Just wait for it to arrive, and you'll get a fat discount from me. I would do 500 to 800 milligrams EPA plus DHA with meals, so that's a total of 3,500 milligrams omega-3s net EPA and DHA total. Daily fasted cardio, and then ezetimibe if you're on steroids. And that's are the dosages and what I would add. Pretty much, albeit that ubiquinol doesn't really improve lipid parameters. It's great for performance and heart function, but the citrus bergamot and the fish oil certainly will improve your lipids and the cardio also. And the ezetimibe for sure. Sean Sullivan, thoughts the next cycle, 200 milligrams test per week, 600 milligrams Primo, 10 milligrams Anavar per day, 5 IUs. Man, that's a big jump from what you're doing now. 5 IUs Humalog pre-workout. Goals to reach 250 to 260 pounds lean. You will not reach that on this cycle. You will need significantly more, buddy. You'll need significantly more. Still maintain running a 7 mile. You'll probably need a gram of test. You'll probably need a gram of test and a gram of Primo. Don't underestimate getting into heavier body weights. I know you were a little bit taller, right? What is your current weight? Let me scroll up. 6'2", 230. So you want to increase 30 pounds. You're 10% body fat. Your serum estradiol levels are super low. 20 pounds. Maybe it could work. I think you need 500 tests to reach 260 lean. But anyway, I would start with 200 tests, 200 Primo, 10 milligrams Anavar per day, and then 4 IUs GH, 5 IUs Humalog before pre-workout, and just slowly build up your dosages as you get stronger and bigger, because I don't think you need more than 200 tests, 200 Primo to really start making some progress. And then you go to 300 tests, 300 Primo, right? And then, or 350 tests, 350 Primo, and then 500 tests, 500 Primo, until you're 260. Yeah, and keep running, obviously. But if you keep running a 7-minute mile every single day to keep your stamina up as your body weight levels are going up, then your leg mass is going to suffer. So at one point, you're going to have to compromise. Are you aware of ways to induce the 5-alpha reductase enzyme, similar in a way to how St. John's wort induces the cytochrome P450 enzyme? Surely there are some drugs that induce 5-AR. I did a 5-alpha reductase or a finasteride, post-finasteride syndrome video. And I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember, honestly. But I know that nicotinamide mononucleotide or nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide contributes to the metabolism of testosterone into diet testosterone. And if you're deficient in NAD plus or NADPH or NADP, then this conversion obviously doesn't take place optimally. So maybe look into nicotinamide mononucleotide as a supplement to increase NAD plus levels, or nicotinamide riboside, whatever you prefer, right? Both are effective, but some are more effective than others for certain individuals. Man, what induces 5-alpha reductase enzyme expression? I don't think there's anything that does. Let's ask Chat GPT. So professional. What induces 5-alpha reductase enzyme expression? Growth factors like IGF-1 are implicated in the regulation of 5-alpha reductase expression. Testosterone, diet testosterone can upregulate the expression of 5-alpha reductase. DHT in particular is a potent inducer of this enzyme. Okay, maybe you need to supplement with oral DHT, like I mentioned in the 5-alpha reductase or in the finasteride syndrome video. Gene regulation, hormonal changes, environmental factors, endocrine disruptors. But maybe we should start eating from plastic containers to increase that. Yeah, longer questions is better by email, so we can so I can ask you some questions in the meantime. Let's see, Squire. Everybody watch Fallout? A little Squire. Carry my bag meal. Best stack for a short sprinter in the off season to transform performance. About 170 and have done cycles, but want to go to the next level. Just watch the endurance deep dive. I don't remember the shit from the top of my head, guys. The Emoxypine and the Trimetazidine. I don't remember the stuff. I barely do endurance consultations. That's why I put everything in the endurance deep dive video series or the MMA specific video. I just don't remember. My head is full with Nandrolone and HCG right now. I don't know all the nuances of these things. So just watch those videos, please. And don't super chat me for it. Because I just honestly don't remember. All right, much appreciated, Sean. Much appreciated. Recommended Bangkok Hospital to check your markers. There's two places. One is Bria Labs. That's usually where I go. Don't start hanging out in front of there just for me to show up. You can do that at the Muscle Factory. And there's a new one, although I haven't been there yet. I have to check my email. Bria. Where is it? Guess not, it's not in my email. When did I send this? June 10th. Thought it was here. Med. Thought it was called Med something. Apps. 1 second. I'll find it. I'll find it. Med blood work. This one. Thought it was called MedLab. Ah, is this the one? Oh, it's a cannabis shop. Great. This is not the clinic I'm looking for. MedLab dispensary. Jesus, it's all dispensaries. Maybe it's in my private email. 1 second, guy. Now I need to know. Can't let this go. If it's about blood work, you gotta provide, man. Gotta keep my audience healthy. Swear to God, I put it in my email somewhere. Oh, can't find it. So Bria Labs it is. Bria Labs it is. It's linked down below. It's not a hospital, it's just a clinic. It's way cheaper. Yeah, there's a blood work place in Lot Prow. That's the one. That's Bria Labs. That's where I go to do all my serum tests. Dubster Buster, Steve, first of all, thanks for the super deep, valuable answers. Will orals keep their effects after expiration date? Anavar in this case. Yes, the Bonavar that I'm running has been expired for a year. And, well, look at this shit. Look at this. Look at these fucking peaks, bro. So, I think it's working. Look at this chest. I think it's working. But it's also the growth hormone and the Primo and the IGF-1, but I'm getting great pumps and great contractions, dude. So as long as you keep it, I have Anadrol laying around that's like expired for like 5 years or maybe longer. But I got it on a sweet deal, so I bought a fuckload of boxes, and I never have to buy Anadrol ever again. I even gave away a lot. It's still there. Still, it's like an unlimited supply of Anadrol. Yeah. Oh, now the cramping is starting. Thoughts on Parabolan? Oh, come on, dude. I have an entire deep dive about this stuff. I'll link it down below. Like these questions, thoughts about. I went on a Tremboloni rampage the last couple of months. Honestly, man. I have a 1 hour, 20-minute video about Trembolone. You'll never have to watch another Trembolone video ever again. So what did I think about Parabolan? Fucking works great. Any thoughts on why it's original ester and why would they choose such a long ester? I think that was the only ester available and the easiest to suspend, and they could get 50 milligrams net Trembolone for 76 milligrams Trembolone hexahydrobenzocarbonate. I think that's the only reason. I think it was the easiest to produce. Trembolone enanthate is produced by the underground labs, and Trembolone acetate was only used in the oral versions. Or there was an injectable version for a while, but now it's only, or the pellets, right, that they put in the ears of the cattle. I would go with Trembolone acetate in case you have side effects. And then when you stop it, it's out of your system in a week. The food supply in the US sucks. Can you recommend a carbohydrate that isn't contaminated with pesticides on wheat and corn or arsenic like most rice? I don't know. I don't research that stuff because I don't live in the United States. So I would look for some third-party testing and advice. And otherwise, import your food. I do import my food. And yeah, you get higher quality that way. All my fish is imported. All the salmon, all the beef I eat is imported. It's frozen. It sucks. But yeah. I don't know, man. Something you're gonna have to find out locally. Let's see. Vigilia Aternus. Thoughts on going on 400 tests, or from 400 tests a week to 200? I imagine I would see a big difference in body composition. No, not that much. It will take a couple of weeks. But yeah, you'll be less strong and less metabolically inclined, obviously. You might need to reduce your calories a little bit, unless you want to keep your strength. Then your calories need to go up for the lack of testosterone that's now in your system. People that haven't seen me in 3 months on 400 tests notice the change. Same in reverse. Yeah, but you'll sustain some of the muscle that you built on this 400 milligrams testosterone cycle. I mean, look at how I looked. I have pictures. I mean, after a year off, let's see. Do I have the pictures here? Maybe I don't. Here, this was me after like almost a year off. Oh, I can't focus, right? Skinny as fuck. But you're still running 200 tests. So I don't think it's going to be that much of a difference. You know? IP Productions. Are you on Tren right now? No, I came off of it, 3 or 4 weeks ago? Yeah, he's off. I'm off. Shreve, holy shit, it's good to see you. Been a minute, bro. Oh, Emperor Shreve is here? Sorghum syrup. All right. And I'm missing the point. Benjamin Heights in Child GH Genotropin 36 IOS is about $85. There you go. Start stocking up. That is cheap compared to other parts of the world. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Send me some. 85 divided by 36. $2.40. But you're not beating my prices. I'm paying a lot less than you. But I don't have pharmaceutical. I have like underground lab. And guys, stop asking me which brand it is. I'm not in the business of talking about brands. Unless it's pharmaceutical. If you know, you know. If you're in Thailand, you know. I gave you plenty of hints. They're in pens, 100 IUs, pre-constituted. Underground lab. I'll do my serum test tomorrow. If it's good, I'll let you know. But I won't mention the brand. Because their injectables are still shit. All fucking toxic synthetic carrier oils. Wouldn't be a real vigorous Q&A without Steve posing chest gains. Yeah, I'm very happy with my chest gains. I've been doing triceps first and then shoulders and then chest at the end. But next week I'm going to do chest first on push day. So I've been doing like overhead tricep extensions. and then skull crushers with the pause, and then the Tate press. So I've been doing that for the last 2 months first, and then shoulders, and then chest. And now I think my tricep strength has really improved because I'm doing like 45, 50 kilo dumbbell overhead extensions. So that's about 120 pounds all the way back. And it's going all the way back behind the head and then up. And I think the skull crusher is like 40 kilos, give or take. So that's almost 100 pounds. So that's going pretty well. So I'm hoping that my chest workouts will be a lot better and that my triceps are no longer the limiting factor. Anyone interested in methylated androsterone? Not really. We have much better methylated compounds out there. Nano nipples. Hey, Steve, my T3, T4, TSH are all within range of normal. If I take 100 micrograms T4, will I notice significant metabolism boost? Not really. I don't want to touch T3 just yet. Not really. It's just to keep you going. I'm on 100 micrograms T4 before bed with the boatload of growth hormone, and I cannot say that my metabolism took a huge, well, I did from the growth hormone, but when I was running 3.3 IUs or 100 micrograms T4 by itself, I can't really say that I noticed anything. But when you combine it with growth hormone, you see significant boost. Yeah. Holy hell, we're finally at the bottom. My pronouns are she, them. Can I fuck yeah. Can I she them titties? Next time, buy me a drink first. What was that from Austin Powers? Right? How'd you get to know those pants, baby? And then she's like, hey, buy me a drink first. And then his jaw drops. You want to get into these pants? Buy me a drink. This is true. Does frequent bilateral intramuscular injections increase the risk of injury? If you have a lot of scar tissue, potentially. But I injected into my glutes bilaterally for a decade, and I still didn't get injured in my glutes. But it took an ages to get those that scar tissue out of there. So I do sub-Q only, but of course the Increlex is going intramuscular because, well, it's peptides. Got to put that intramuscular, bro. All right, let me reset the chat a little bit. I'm going to go to the bathroom and then we'll continue. But I've been guzzling water and I had like a whole gallon of water during the workout. I sweat a lot. Pee break. I'm back already. Hopefully it didn't take long. Hope you have a nice weekend. Yeah, it's my weekend is only one day because Saturday is still working. I mean, today I recorded the ATG video, did consultations, did emails, went to the gym, and now I'm doing the Vigorous Q&A. So I have like 1 hour with my cats. Well, we did watch the Acolyte 4. I asked my wife, "Do you want to play Super Mario Galaxy Or watch The Acolyte. And she's like, I watch The Acolyte. And then after a while, we're like, we should have played Super Mario Galaxy instead. Or no, not Super Mario. It's Odyssey on the one on the Switch. Yeah, it's an old game, but the Switch has like 4 games that are worth buying. And I already got both Zelda titles, and Resident Evil 4 I played many a time on the Wii, so I'm not going to buy that one again. We need a Vigorous Steve action figure. I think people play with me not enough as it is. Yeah. What would be the slogan? When you pull the string and it says something. I would like to have laser beam eyes though, like like Homelander. Man, The Boys, that's fun to watch. It's very political this season though, but I can see it's the election year. So what do you expect? How's that going for you guys? It's going well, right? Yeah, do your blood work. Do your blood work or else. Steve, I'm suffering from post-finasteride syndrome. Will HCG help in curing side effects? Yeah, it could be because it will increase your testosterone and the potential to convert it to diet testosterone. And also raise your estradiol levels. HCG cures a lot of libido issues. That's why I included in the libido video. Let me link that down below so you get some more ideas. Semax might also help, or cerebrolysine even, to kind of help you restore your neurological pathways. God, I love that thumbnail. The first and last libido video you'll ever watch. That one I definitely don't need to do again. That one was great. The super chat, really? Oh, sorry, missed that one. My bad, Rolly. Rolly B. Steve, on a coach, on a cut, 300 tests, 200 Primo, 10 milligrams Anavar. Man, everybody's doing the same shit now. At least it's rubbing off on you guys. Give general advice for beach, vacation prep, diet mods, supplements, diuretics, general advice. What you need to do is hire a coach, dude. You want the full Monty in a super chat of $5. Ketogenic diet. That's it. Why would you need diuretics? Why would you the health supplements? It's all the regular health supplements that I mentioned in the health supplement what is it called article. I'll link it down below. 1 second, let me find it. Supplementation. Like you're asking for me to coach you in a super chat. You're asking too much, bro. You know better. Run your cycle, diet reductions with 10% to keep doing your cardio until you're lean. And when you're lean, you don't need diuretics, and you just take the regular health supplements, which I mentioned in that article. General advice: when you're in shape, fuck a lot of bitches. Because what's the fucking point if you're in shape and you're not fucking a lot of bitches? You know, I fucked a lot of bitches when I was in shape. That's the whole. You go to the beach, you pull your shirt off, you have a 6-pack, some pecs, some bicep veins, and you just start talking to girls. You need to butter them up first before you take them home. You need to show some personality. So don't die too hard to the point that you're here. AJ Sims. Is this the AJ Sims? Diuretics for a beach vacation. Just get that. Is this the AJ Sims? The coach who gets everybody fat free when they listen, even Mustafa Muhammad, for like 2 shows when he listened, and now he's I don't know what happened, but he's not working with AJ Sims. So if AJ Sims gives you a question mark with diuretics for a beach vacation, then well, you know the fucking answer. I love those collaborations with Card Havens, by the way, AJ. Fucking legendary. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thoughts on NAC for liver support? Yeah, it's great. 2,000 milligrams per day. Will it bring everything into super healthier ranges? Of course not. But it's better than nothing. Right? Injectable glutathione does so much more. But injectable glutathione also burns like gonorrhea. So That's why I do it IV once a week. Yeah. Now, let me see if I can actually answer some of these questions. Igor, hey Steve, can I freeze my Semax for a month and then unfreeze it and use it for a month? Will it be less potent? I just keep it in the fridge and it works just fine. I had like a nasal spray that I got from my compounding pharmacy that I bought before I came off cycle. And since there's no clear fertility data on Semax, I used it very sparingly. And then I kind of finished it recently and it still worked. So I don't think it degrades. Weirdly enough, I mean, it's a very small peptide chain. It's what, four amino acids? Four amino acids. So Iron Grade, please don't repeat your message 4 times. Just put them in timeout, dude. Only when we listened, lol. Hope you're doing great, Big Steve. Doing awesome work. All right, this is the AJ Sims. Yeah, I'll reach out to you on Instagram because I like what you have to say on that podcast with Kurt. Maybe you should come on my podcast too. Talk about drugs. Everybody loves it when coaches talk about drugs. At least AJ Sims is talking about drugs, unlike all the other coaches who would say it's only about training. At least AJ doesn't mind putting it all out there. So let me reach out to you on Instagram, bro. Let's do some work together. Yeah, if you're ready for, well, you've been on bigger channels, so. Kaz, are you still taking fluvoxamine? I'm interested in how your sleep energy, heart rate variability is on it. Also, do you drink caffeine? Yes, I'm taking fluvoxamine, 50 milligrams per day. My sleep is absolutely flawless, even when I was running Tren, although my sleep duration was reduced from 8 hours to about 7 hours. Energy levels, absolutely great. Heart rate variability, I would need to recheck because I don't have one of those watches to check. But my heart rate is good during cardio. And also, do you drink caffeine on it? Yes. Yes. We can't say that it's any more potent. When I was running, I think cerebrolysine or Semax increased my caffeine sensitivity. But with fluvoxamine, I don't really notice that. But I drink a lot of caffeine. It's, it's a bit of an addiction. Can I have a fucking addiction? It's not the end of the world to have caffeine addiction. Right? Two strong cups a day. Hell yeah, keeps me going. Oh, and I added some Respawn today, which also has caffeine. Right? No vigorous Q&A without Respawn. You got to stay dialed in. And you guys can clearly tell when the Respawn is starting to wear off because my reaction time and my answers get more and more diminished. I mean, it is 1:30 in the morning after all. So all is going well, man. I got a message today from an old client of mine, Matteo, and he was experimenting with vortioxetine, and he said it was a life-changing thing for last month. So I might still go from fluvoxamine to vortioxetine, but so far I still have like 2 boxes of fluvoxamine left. And since I'm getting such a good response of 50 milligrams per day, it's going to take a while before I run out and then switch to, the Brintalex, vortioxetine, or Brintalex. Is it the right one? Vorlons. If you know, you know. Trintalex. Yeah, so I might make the switch to 10 or 20 milligrams, and then keep you guys posted because the neurogenesis is a little bit more pronounced and it shows a lot more cognitive improvements than fluvoxamine, but the side effects might also be more brutal. Then again, side effects. I'm running 10 IUs of growth hormone per day, and I don't even have, carpal tunnel. I have some edema around my ankles, but dude, I'm so full when I'm training. It's insane. I'm so pumped. It's great. Absolutely great. So yeah, fluvoxamine, so far so good. Double thumbs up from Coach Steve. Watched a podcast with AJ and Kurt. It feels illegal to have 3 hours of pure knowledge for free. Yeah. Yeah, you guys should at least do like a super like or something. Yeah, I'm not sure if Kurt turned that on. Is this channel monetized? It should be monetized. He's got enough subscribers and enough views. Yeah, we'll get Kurt on the 26th with Dr. Dean, and then we're going to talk pharmacology for like 2 hours straight, and then I'll put the citations and the studies and everything else on the screen. So it'll be the best fucking anabolics podcast you ever watched. With that high production value, my editor is going to cry. Yeah. Where are we? We need more Kurt uploads. Kurt's very busy, man. He's got a real job. He's still got a real job and a boatload of clients, and he's doing a lot of podcast collaborations. So, um, watch all of his videos, like it, comment it. So at one point he can retire from coaching or be more selective with who he hires, and then produce more content. Like, I mean, the whole reason why I'm producing a lot of content is because I stopped coaching completely, and my rates are so fucking high right now due to demand, right? Because my channel is growing. My rates are so fucking high that I only have 1 hour, 1.5 hours, sometimes 2 hours of consultations or personalized advice by email in combination per day. And that leaves me a lot of time for research, right? So I can do the deep dives. But everybody else that's still coaching, yeah, I mean, good luck finding time to sit down and research for 4 hours straight using a little bit of nootropics when you have clients that are in your ear all the time, right? You just need to be responsive. So I was fucking responsive, and you don't have time for anything else. When you're on holiday, responsive. In the airplane, responsive. You're always responsive when you're a client, when you're a coach. But I'm no longer a full-time coach. I have a lot of the 10-hour consultation package, but I charge these guys by the minute, like a lawyer does. So I have a 24-hour response time, and then I bill them the minutes that they spent. All right, where were we? Sorry. So help Kurt retire from coaching so you can get more uploads from him, because I think if Kurt and Dr. Dean start making regular educational content, then everything will level up. Steve, for your Legos. Yeah, much appreciated. I have to spend $600 on the Deku tree because I have to buy 2 sets. Shit. But first I have to go to Holland and get some emotional confirmation that I'm ready to buy more Legos after not having bought it for, I think, since I was 15. Yeah, I lost my virginity at 15, then I stopped playing with Legos. That felt like the right move. But I kept playing with Legos until I lost it. I lost my virginity and my Legos at the same time. Shit. Deep dive on varicocele. That's for doctors, man. That's for doctors. Everybody wants a deep dive, and then to make a deep dive about the aromatase inhibitors, and nobody watches. So, Nandrolone it will be. Can I take carnitine year round, or does it have to be cycled off? I've been taking it for 4 years straight, and yeah, so far so good. So far so good. I don't think you need to cycle off carnitine because your body produces it naturally, and it has no adverse effects. It might adversely affect your thyroid function if you take a bolus dose, but up until 500 milligrams sub-Q once or twice per day, I don't think that interferes with thyroid function at all. Can you explain why you aren't hungry on 10 AU's growth hormone? I have rapidly hungry on low dose growth hormone. Yeah, I don't know. On a low dose, I also have it, but on a high dose, I don't have it. Maybe my T3 levels are bottomed out this week. It could be. If I'm losing fat by the day, man, my lower back is leaner and my ab veins are getting more pronounced every day I wake up. And of course, I hold a little bit of water, so it's blurring the definition. So if I take the growth hormone out now, I'd look pretty fucking good, as you can see. I mean, let me show the bicep veins again. I mean, this line wasn't there this week. This separation. See? See how deep this is? Of course, it's not this deep in my abs, but man, it's so difficult to do it in reverse. All this separation, it's all new, man. This separation. This hole wasn't here a week ago. So let's look at that again. Fucking cam show. AJ is laughing his ass off because I'm fucking small compared to all the guys that he's coaching. So look at this guy. What the fuck is he? That's all the fluvoxamine's fault. The reason why I'm not hungry, I don't know. I'm just suppressing my appetite. And the last time I ran 8 IUs of growth hormone, it was Was it Genotropin? No, it was Norditropin. It was Norditropin when I was also running like 2 grams a test. And I was fucking hungry on 2 grams a test, but I was also training twice a day. And now I train like 4 times a week, and I'm sitting on my ass all day, getting my steps in here and there. But I'm definitely not getting more than 5,000 steps in per day. I should be getting a lot more, but do you guys want me to make video and work, or do you want me to walk around town just to get lean so I look good on Instagram, which nobody seems to give a shit about anyway? Um, so why am I not hungry? Is my thyroid function absolutely fucked? I'll do my serum test tomorrow, and I might as well check my T3 and T4 levels and thyroid stimulating hormone levels while I'm at it. Because if I'm gonna poke another hole in my vein, then might as well draw as much blood to get some more details. I'm not gonna make a separate video about it, but I'll probably update you guys on the next Vigorous Q&A. So I'm just my appetite is suppressed. Maybe there's a GLP in there. It's an underground lab, so maybe they put some tirzepatide in there. Haven't touched that in months. If your ass comes to Denmark, I will just say you better have invested right, because we are literally the birthplace of Lego. Yeah, I will definitely visit Legoland in Denmark. Are you going to spend the pretty buck here and wonder how to get it back? Lego does appreciate over time if you have rare sets. There are several Legolands, but I think I've been to the one in Holland, or they had some sort of Legoland exposition. That was a lot of fun, but it's not like a theme park, right? In a theme park, you can do rides. In Legoland, like Maduro Dam, for example, Maduro Dam is like it's somewhere in the south of Holland, and they have like all these miniatures of sites in Holland. So in Rotterdam, there's houses that look like square boxes, and they have a miniature version of that, and they have a miniature version of Amsterdam, certain sites, and so you just walk around and look at all the miniatures, and you're like, oh, that's cool. And the same thing you have in Lego. It's like, oh, it's cool, but nothing happens unless they have like a diorama, which that is still nice because you have trains and cars and all that stuff is moving around. So you have a little bit of activity, and then you can kind of look around and do the what is it? Find Waldo. You're just looking around and seeing for interesting stuff. But yeah, Legoland. The last time I went to that exposition, I was a little bit bored. Lego, 99% of the fun is putting it together, and then you display it, and that's it. And playing with it, it's not as fun as building it. But that's what I used to do. I would build it and then throw it on the floor and then build something else. You got to take it apart. Well, you start over. What to do when tirzepatide stops working? Any ways to restore tolerance? Increase the dose. And after a while, the dose is so high. That's what they do clinically, right? They do 5 milligrams and 10 milligrams and 20 milligrams or something like that. When I run 1 milligram tirzepatide 3 times a week, so that's 3 milligrams weekly, but split 3 times a week over 3 administrations, I think it was working for like 16 weeks in total. Whereas with medical applications, they increase it every month, I think. And that's why you see so many issues with semaglutide, tirzepatide, and all these other medications, because they just keep increasing the dose to the point your pancreas is just fucking violated. Your stomach's fucking violated from all this GLP-1. So I don't think that is a good idea. And if it stops working, you phase off of it, and then you increase your calories, but you make sure you don't rebound, and then you reintroduce it a little bit later on. You J Cure. Test Primo 101, Estradiol 5 is 2 to 1.5 likely sweet spot. 5 to 1. All right, you're going to have to clarify a little bit, buddy, because I cannot decipher this. This is like Morse code during the World War. So try again. Don't have the super chat. I'll look for your name. Just specify a little bit more, because this is I don't know. I don't know. If I have big balls naturally, will HCG be sufficient to retain them? Yes, that's what we'll discuss in the HCG deep dive. But even the weird thing is, if you have normal testicles, during all of the studies where I administered even 5,000 IOs HCG 3 times per week, testicular volume didn't really increase. The subjects also didn't, even though serum estradiol levels went up to like 150 picograms per milliliter, which is weird. So You will sustain your testicular volume on HCG if you take steroids because you're replacing the LH signal with HCG, even though FSH does come down, and that contributes the most. But then again, I can't for the life of me remember the last time. Actually, let's do a check. Oh, sweaty. Yeah, they just came down in size after taking the FSH out. And when the FSH was in and the HCG was higher, my testicles were pretty fucking big. Yeah, which I think the similar size to where they were when I was off cycle or drug free. Steve, where do you purchase your shirts? This shirt I bought from a store in Japan, and you guys are always asking for it. So I'll link that where you can buy it, but you need to use a shipping forwarder or something that can order from Japan in your name and then ship it. It's like $70. It's Elite Grips at rakuten.co.jp. You can buy this shirt. And they even have a white one. But the blue one is so much cooler. That's my favorite shirt, even though it's getting fucking tight. It's getting too tight, getting too big. Maybe we should wash that hand first. Bring it to my mouth. Well, I took a shower before doing the Vigorous Q&A, so at least the sweat is recent. Benjamin Heights, after using 3 IUs of growth hormone daily for 1 year, when suspending, will my pituitary start producing growth hormone naturally? If so, how long? 2 days. IGF-1 levels will remain elevated for about 36 hours, and then 2 days later, your growth hormone secretion will come back to normal levels. I mean, I was in like 4 to 6 IUs of growth hormone for almost a year straight, and then at one point I went to 8 IUs, and I wondered the exact same thing, and then I stopped growth hormone, and then, I don't know, 3 days later, I was normal again. So, comparable to baseline, IGF-1 levels were still low, but I'm naturally having low IGF-1 levels in serum, so unless I use Increlex. Bradley Hip Hop. Let me see if J. Cure specified whatever the fuck he was talking about. After seeing Steve touching himself, life will never be the same. Well, at least I didn't touch you. Then it will never be the same. But if you meet me at the Olympia, I will touch you, all right? And we'll just do the picture thing. Or the thumbs up. That's what bodybuilders do. Any walk-in store in Tokyo? I have no idea, man. That's what Google is for. I can't find anywhere where to get FSH. Send me an email, info@vigorsteve.com, and all will be revealed. Marius Peterson, 300 tests, 50 Primo as an AI, 20 trainable every day, 250 HCG 2 times a week. I would do more Primo. I would do testing Primo in a 1-to-1 ratio because you have HCG and it produces estradiol directly. So if you want to keep it with 350 milligrams steroids per week or injectable, then it will be 175 milligrams of test, 175 milligrams of Primo. But fuck it, let's round that up to 200 test, 200 Primo, and enjoy the ride. Here we go. Explanation. 360 tests, 360 Primo for 4 weeks. Estradiol was 5 picograms per milliliter. So he did a 1-to-1 ratio, and his estradiol was completely bottomed out, probably because he was lean. Did HCG and DHEA for a week, then moved to 360 tests to 70 Primo, which is a 1 to 3 to 1 ratio for 2 weeks. Felt low. Should I go for 2 to 1? I would go to 2 to 1 right now and add it and keep the HCG in. Just keep the HCG in, because if Primobolan is dissuppressive for you on your conversion or aromatization, then maybe you need direct estrogen production in the testicles, and DHEA will convert it to testosterone and then into estradiol, but the Primo is there. So they will still prevent the conversion of testosterone into estradiol, but Primo will not enter the testicles and prevent the conversion there while HCG is doing its thing. So 400 tests, 200 Primo per week, 25 milligrams DHEA per day before bed, and 500 IOS HCG Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I think you will have normal estradiol levels on that, 25 to 40, depending on how it goes. And check your levels 4 weeks into that protocol. All right, thanks for clarifying, because the previous question that no makey sense to me. How long does Ovitrol pen last? 3 weeks. From 3 weeks. 6,500 IUs divided by 500 is 13 divided by 3. 4 weeks. Only used once. No, you only use it once if you want your wife to ovulate, and you just stab it into the abdomen and you clear the whole pain like brit, right? Because you have the click system, so it makes that brit noise. And then yeah, and then she gets really horny. I'm talking from personal experience. Saying I'm ovulating tomorrow, but I can't wait. I said, okay, let's get it done. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. And then fingers crossed, you know. But in my wife's case, when she will not ovulate because she's using a gonadotropin antagonist, and then FSH at the same time, and then she'll use Ovitrol, a full injection the day before egg retrieval, but then you're not supposed to have intercourse. You don't want to kind of, you know, tenderize the area in that sense. So, yeah, the egg retrieval will be next week, I think. Now, hopefully we get 2 or 3 healthy embryos, and then in August we're going to start spending more money and doing the IVF. Can't wait, man. Jake Abbat, what's your genuine opinion on the safety of long-term TRT, real TRT, not TRT plus? Do you think there are possible long-term complications? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's great to keep your serum testosterone and serum estradiol levels at the top of the reference range until you're too old to tolerate that, and then you slowly need to reduce it to, let's say, 3/4 or half of the reference range, which is still 2 or 3 times higher than you would have otherwise an endogenous production. There's just too many benefits, and they will outweigh any potential negative effects. Right? If you live healthy, you control your serum lipid levels, you inject pharmaceutical carrier oils that are not inflammatory, so you don't have long-term issues regarding cardiovascular disease or events, then I think it's perfectly safe, man. What I'm doing is not perfectly safe, obviously. I'm doing HRT plus full-blown steroid cycles, mega dosages of certain compounds. So at one point I need to stop that and go to TRT. But for now, I'm so far so good, I would say. Yeah. I love you, Steve. I'm eating peanut butter right now out of the jar. All right. With a picture of Jay Cutler in the off season. Enjoy your Saturday. It's not how I would spend my Saturday. But if that's your Saturday, then go ahead, man. Thoughts on combining cerebrolizin with cortexin? I never used cortexin and never really looked into it, but I think it also has neurotropic factors. Cortexin. Neuroprotective agent, therapeutic, ischemia. What the fuck is it? Intramuscular injection, cortexin, water-soluble peptide fractions. What the hell's in there? Passes the blood-brain barrier. Looks promising. I know. Run it solo, both for a month, and then combine it for a month. So you have a 3-month protocol. It's a neuropeptide, but they don't specifically mention. Well, at least not on Cosmic. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. Do it, and then let us know. You'll be the first. I'm sure there's a Reddit thread about it. Did you ever get to try diiso? What was the abbreviation again? Diisopropylamine dichloroacetate. No, I didn't. I wanted to order some from a guest that I had on, and then he was out of stock. and he's still out of stock. So yeah, it's something I would love to try. That's for sure. I haven't had a chance to try it yet. Liam, I saw your cure oil videos. Some pharma contains ethyl oleate, orchesol, and benzyl alcohol. Doesn't underground do it better if it's an MCT oil? Yeah, I agree. And that's exactly what I mentioned. If you can get an underground lab in MCT oil and you trust them, you do third-party testing and it comes back with 100% purity, then I would go with that. Or homebrew it yourself in MCT oil. Yeah, some pharmaceuticals contain ethyl oleate. Here in Thailand, they have ethyl oleate. In Spain, there's a brand with olive oil and ethyl oleate. Aromatase oil is being used in the Western world and very common in India. And benzoyl alcohol, I mean, not everybody has issues with that. I inject a ton of benzoyl alcohol coming from the sterile water or the bacteriostatic water and the growth hormone and the the Bayer testifier and stuff in the Bayer Remobalin that I'm using. I don't have an issue with that, but some people are allergic to benzoyl alcohol and benzoate. So again, if you have a specific allergy to that, then obviously don't use it. And there's a lot of compounds you can suspend in MCT oil without benzoate or benzoyl alcohol, but you have to pass it through a Wattman filter just to make sure that it's sterile and make small batches of maybe 5 milliliters, just to make sure that you go through those vials fast. So you don't inject it with air that has contaminants that could still give you some complications after injecting, right? Opinions on microdosing psilocybin or LSD? Great if you live in a country that you can get away with that legally, and otherwise you just don't talk about it. But I think it's great. Hey, you don't have a shirt like this for no reason, right? So when I go to Holland, yeah, I'll be microdosing some stuff. That's for sure. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. I go to the Efteling, it's a theme park, microdose some LSD. Efteling theme park. I'll show you guys. I'm not sure if I can make it, but it's a very old theme park. It's like 100 years old. I'll link it down below. And then you take a dose. That was not a microdose dose. If you can handle that, hopefully nobody working at the Efteling is watching this right now. And then you go the whole day. Yeah, there's a lot of benefits, man. There's a lot of benefits. Good for neurogenesis. Good to overcome traumatic disorders. And hero dosages will make you give you life, or will give you life changing decision thoughts. Fuck. The respawn is definitely working off. Steve, if I see you at the Mr. Olympia, do you want to valve DHT propionate? Yes. Yes, bro. Yes, I will be there. Chase will have a booth called Chase Irons and Friends. I'll be at the booth all day. It'll be a small booth somewhere in the corner where we can do interviews. Hell yes, man. I would love to try that. Yeah, just don't send the DEA after me right after. I gave him the bottle of DHT propionate. Go arrest him. Will LSD actually be a life-changing experience? If you have the right mindset for it. I mean, I took LSD many a time when I was in Holland, and it led me to so many decisions leading to this point. Like I never wanted to work for somebody else again. I needed to leave Holland, right, and start my life somewhere else. And at that time, I didn't even know where. And then at one point, I ended up in Thailand. And then it's like, you know what? I can live here. I can be myself. I can't take LSD here. It's illegal. But at least I can be myself and enjoy life. So, and I think without those LSD trips, I wouldn't have come to those conclusions. And it's the same for Aaron and so many other people that I met here. A lot of guys that I know that, took LSD or mushrooms or a combination of mushrooms with MDMA or LSD with MDMA. You just have these moments where you just realize that whatever you're doing right now is kind of bullshit and that you need to make some serious changes. And then the seed is planted. And then you move on with life. And some guys take LSD and they end up like Connor Murphy. Yeah, I saw that. Fucking pathetic, dude. Fucking pathetic. I wonder how long it's going to take for that guy to be deported or arrested. It's and I don't know why Tony keeps picking up these strays. Right? It just picks up these strays and grooms them, and then they all turn into weirdos. I don't know what's going on with that crew, man. But I'm staying the fuck away. I don't want anything to do with those people anymore. I used to be cordial, but after all the bullshit that happened, these people I don't want to waste a second on. So it would not surprise me if at one point there will be some blowout or some arrests or deportation because this usually doesn't last long in Thailand, man. It's fucked, man. Completely fucked. And when he arrived here, I warned him. I told him, said, dude, you can't behave like that like you did in the US. You'll get yourself into serious problems. So, you know, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. Let's see. Let's do a couple more questions and then I'm gonna bounce. Will you give a try on Tristalone when there's more data? I mean, there's enough data for me to give it a try, but I already got a little bit of gyno from Trembolone, so I just want to diet down and see how bad it is, and then I might just have to do the surgery and then run the Tristalone later. But guys, I'm happy where I am, dude. I don't need to, I don't need to do all these crazy cycles anymore. So let's see. I'm having fun with 10 IU's growth hormone. That's also pretty crazy, but at least it's bioidentical. And prescribed up to 18 IU's per day. Tristalone is not prescribed. All by coaches. Prescribed by coaches. What's the best place to vacation in Thailand? Well, it depends on what you want. If you want beaches, I would say Krabi or Phi or maybe Samui. And then it's all reasonably close. You can go to Krabi by plane, then take a boat to Koh Phi Phi, then take the boat back to Krabi, take the bus to the pier of Koh Samui, and then take a ferry across Koh Samui, rent a motorbike there, and drive around. If you want to see mountains, then I would go to Chiang Rai, Chiang Mai, and just do the Mae Hon Son Loop. That's a beautiful ride. Don't stay too long in Chiang Mai. Might be an old fart there, just trying to market his membership website, unannounced and uninvited. So don't patrol the gyms too much there. Might be some weird people. There's some great gyms, obviously. Good gyms in Chiang Mai, but some weird people live there. Same as weird people live in Pattaya. So pick your people carefully. The countryside is nice if you want authentic Thailand. People are super friendly. You go to Korat, you go to Nong Khai, you go to Udon Thani. It's a little bit more poorer, obviously, and less developed. Less mountains, less beach, no beach, obviously. Pretty dry climate, a lot of rice fields. But if you want to meet people, then that it's probably the best way because they're not spoiled by the city, just like they are in Bangkok, and certainly not as terrible as the people you might find in Pattaya or Phuket. They're completely messed up from the tourism industry, but in the countryside, there's not so much tourism industry, or basically not at all. There's a lot of old farts that live there, but those you can easily avoid. But the people are super nice, man, super friendly people. I love the countryside. Chiang Rai is super nice. A big Christian community there. Chinese people that fled from China because they were Christian, then moved through Myanmar and then settled in Chiang Rai. So you'll find some churches there, and then people that are also very welcoming. So Thailand is a great place overall. You have to get out of the tourist areas of Chiang Mai, Bangkok, Pattaya, and Phuket. So if you can travel around a bit, and now would be a good time to come because it's getting less hot, but it's still considered low season, so you can get good prices, and there's not so many foreigners. What are your thoughts on Grillamine Smooth versus 25 to 30 milligrams modafinil in the elderly? In the elderly, I would go to Respawn over Smooth. I haven't touched Smooth since Respawn came out. I like Respawn 10 times more than I did Smooth. I know. Let the elderly try. Half a scoop of Respawn or 25 milligrams modafinil. Let them decide. I'm not against giving either, but how old? Like my 90-year-old grandfather, I wouldn't give either of those. But if 70, 80 years old, yeah, maybe that's good. Bali or Thailand? Bali is fucking nice, dude. But it's Thailand. You can be here for like 6 months and not see anything. In Bali, that's like 2 weeks maximum. I do like Bali though. I should go back there. Yeah, they both look nice. No, you're right. You're right. So in Bali, it's a good question because I would rather go to Bali on holiday than in Thailand. But I live in Thailand, so I'm spoiled in that sense. Bali has a lot of nice beaches, cool nightclubs. The traffic is absolutely horrendous unless you have a motorbike and you can kind of zip through and you know how to drive a motorbike with that kind of traffic. The temples are beautiful. It's reasonably affordable unless you go to some of these, the beach bars. Um, but yeah, if you go like to the top 10 destinations in Bali, compare that to the top 10 destinations in Phuket, then I would go to fucking Bali, dude. You'll be off cheaper. Yeah, Bali is cheaper than Phuket, that's for sure. But then again, if you go for the girls, then well, in Bali also have girls, but I think in Phuket it will be wilder, a lot wilder. Yeah, and when in doubt, just do both. Yeah, the Hanging U-boat Hotel. See, so go to the Kempinski Hotel. If you have a girlfriend, go to the Kempinski to the restaurant in the aquarium. You'll spend like $500 or $600, but it will be well worth it. It was one of the best restaurants I've ever been to in my life. All right, guys, I'm just gonna put the banner in there. No more super chats. Answer whatever is left, and then I'm gonna go to bed. Well, I'm gonna go play with my cats and then go to bed. Yo, any experience with no, I have no experience with that. Sorry. Yo, bro. What do you think about those that take a job but they hate it to make a pretty penny from it? I did that for years. Or just to take an education just for the pay, not consider anything else in life. I did that also. So I want you to watch the blueprint for financial success. I released it 3 years ago, and I lay out a 2-year plan on how to make shit happen, and it will be a life-changing video. You can take your LSD afterwards. 30 minutes. Watch it all the way through. Take notes. When you're 20 years old, I wish I had a video like that when I was 20 years old. You just take you do the job. Did you make the most money? You save all of it. Then you collect 1 year's worth of savings based on how much money you spend. So if you spend $3,000 per month, you need $3,600 in your savings account to bridge that 1 year where you spend the exact same amount, but have all the time in your world to make your dreams come true. And then you can do that in Thailand also, where you spend significantly less. You can live here for $1,500 if you want. Um, right, the life is cheap, and as long as you don't party, don't go crazy, then you can live very, very cheaply here. Um, but you can only do that for 1 year. If you continue to do that for 10 years, then you're a bit of a bum. Then I want to show you guys something. I made a reel and it went viral. Before we close it off, I want you guys to read the comments. It's absolutely hilarious. Where was it? Here, this one. Read the comments. It's on Instagram. It's under the Efteling link. Read the comments of that Instagram post where I said somebody had $300,000 and what you can do with it. And then you can clearly see the people who made it in life and people who are stuck in the same place they were 10 years ago when they came to Thailand. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the guy that levels up, that worked hard for a year or two, saved all the money to make his dreams happen, then lived off his savings, and well before the savings ran out, he was already making 5 Gs a month, and then it was up and up from there? Or do you want to be the bum that lives for $1,500 per month in Thailand for 10 years straight and has no incentive to improve his quality of life? I would choose the first option. All right. Primo versus Mastron. Chase Iron says Mastron is eh. I know, whatever you prefer, man. Run both. I prefer Primo Ball, and some people prefer Mastron. It just whatever you prefer. Right? Whatever gets the job done, man. I've seen those flying spiders in Bali. No, well, It's either flying spiders or flying ladyboys, bro. Last question, Lux Chablani. Does HCG lower FSH levels? Yes, it does. It lowers your LH and FSH levels, but it keeps your testosterone, estradiol levels elevated, and your spermatogenesis going. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. This was great. 2 hours and 15 minutes. I think that's long enough for a Saturday. We'll see you guys next weekend. So next week, to reiterate, next week will be Chase Irons podcast, and the week after that will be Paul Barnett's podcast. Then the week after that will be the Anabolic Roundtable with Dr. Dean St. Mart and Kurt Havens. I finished half of the HCG deep dive. I'll record the other half on Monday, so hopefully it will drop next week also. But it might be a 1 hour video because there's a lot to go through. I'm almost done with the Nandrolone script, basically, and then I'll start recording, but that might be another week or two before that's done because I think I need multiple days to record that video because I have a feeling it's going to be filled with a lot of stumbling over my words. So please be gentle. And then maybe in the meantime, I'll make a video about how to reduce anxiety on TRT or HCG monotherapy because that issue seems to be coming up a lot. And that should be an easy video to drop in between. Okay, so that's it. Guys, enjoy yourself this weekend. Steve, your English pronunciation is remarkably better than 2 years ago. Thank you. I've been working on it a lot. But it's still quite terrible. Yeah. But give me a break. I lived in Holland for, 25 years, give or take. So my English will never be up to par as a native speaker, but I'm doing my fucking best, okay? All right, let's leave it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next Vigorous Q next weekend, and plenty of videos coming in between. And don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff so this YouTube channel can make some money and pay for my fucking editor, okay? Peace out. See you guys next week.